Hi Capricorn, welcome to your mid-July reading. If you haven't cross-watched any other videos and you don't know, your video is late because I was in a pretty serious car accident. Thank God, alhamdulillah, nothing happened to me, just a few bumps and bruises, but the car was totaled and it was a big to-do. Thank God everything is fine and we are back. It happened right around that eclipse that was emotionally a wreck for you. So not surprised at all. Very, very strong energy around that time, but all for nothing. Frustration, just empty frustration because nothing moved until July 12th when retrograde Mercury stationed direct. And here we go. Good. So 3 of Wands. You are being pulled by everything in Cancer across from you to chart new territory when it comes to how you behave in relationships. Capricorns have a tendency to be real tough on the exterior and way too giving in a love relationship. And it's a departure for you, what you're learning now. You're learning that either you give nothing or you give too much. So anyone who can figure that out about you is like, okay, I'll just wait until they're attached. I'll be okay with them giving me nothing until they're attached, and then I'll take everything because I know they'll give it to me. Very manipulative. It's another thing you're realizing is who's manipulative. Now, quickly the cards move on to what happens when the sun moves into Leo on the 22nd. So for you, this is the culmination of all the frustration, all the pain, all the disillusionment of the past couple of weeks. It comes together in the most beautiful way for you, and it starts to make sense as soon as the sun goes into Leo. You are once again energized when it comes to work, when it comes to paying off debts, when it comes to collaboration, things that for the past couple of weeks have seemed like this is not working and I don't like how this is going. I don't like what I'm finding out about the people that I work with. I don't like what's happening in terms of partnerships that I thought were solid, people I could trust. 3 of Cups and you at the bottom of the deck. Your tendency to create self-destructive cycles in relationships has been on display for a few weeks now. And there was nothing to be done about it, really. It's not like there was some glorious insight in there somewhere. It was just kind of the Cancerian tide was just hitting you in the face over and over again. And you're like, okay, yeah, I get it that I can be like this. But Cancer, being sometimes the nagging mom, wants to keep showing you. And you're like this, and you're like this, and you do this, and you do this. And after a while, Capricorn's like, this is pointless. Yeah, I get it. I'm like that. So what? What now? What do we do? Well, the Sun, Strength, and 8 of Pentacles tells you that what you do is you wait for a few more weeks, and as soon as the Sun moves, it all starts to make sense. Right now, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. Also, you have this Mars in Aries that's irritating everything. It's making you see where you are your biggest enemy, where you give too much. People are coming out of the woodwork to show you, especially with this Mars and Aries energy, and tell you, come, right into your face and tell you, this is what you do. This is how you can be. You are doing too much. You are giving too much. Generally, people are too afraid to tell you that. But right now, they want to save your relationships. They want to save you from yourself. They want you to have that new beginning, even if it's in an established relationship that's not based on codependency, that's not based on you being the one who has to handle everything and allowing the other person to just coast, right? So because that's no longer the case, because you can see and you are being told from every side now, this is a friend coming to you and saying, you have a tendency to do this. This is a parent. This is an ex-lover saying, when we were together, I noticed that regardless of what I did, you would pick up the slack. Now, what happens in the next few weeks is that not only do you recognize this, not only does that Cancerian tide stop hitting you in the face with all these what's seemingly useless facts, but you start to see how there is a constructive foundation that can be built from this. Okay, maybe I do give too much, or maybe then I completely shut off and don't give anything. And there has to be some happy medium in there where I can be respected, I can give the way I want to give, because that's the other thing. Now you're thinking in the back of your head, but I like to give. I like to be the one in control. I like to be the one who picks up the slack. Yes, but like the I Ching says, if you rob people of their karma, you rob them of their dignity. So although you like to pick up the slack, don't get mad, but it's not your job. It's not your job. It's not your responsibility, nor is it your right. When you do that, you rob people of the dignity to pay for their own actions. You rob them of the consequences they need to go through so they can learn. So what you do is essentially you retard someone's progress. You hold them back from what karma is trying to teach them by trying to kind of encapsulate them in your I got it attitude. Now that hits you in a very sensitive spot because it has to do with your sense of self. It has to do with your identity, but that's who I am. And Cancer season is like, no, I've just shown you how destructive that is. And Leo season says, no, that's not who you are. You're whoever you want to be. You don't have to be that. You can just as easily be someone who receives love and doesn't have to pick up the slack. You don't have to be beholden to what you think you are. Now it's about recognizing who you really are instead of imposing on yourself some created self-image, right? So it's very positive. I know you've been through a very frustrating time. I know it's been emotionally just, you've been looking around going, this is useless, which a lot of people during Cancer season, especially when Mercury is retrograde, have been just kind of nodding their head like, what is the point of this? In a few days, you will realize what the point is. And essentially, it's for your betterment. It's to show you that in terms of relationships, when you do too much, when you sacrifice too much, not only is it not beneficial for you and for the relationship, you're actually harming the other person involved, right? Or the other people involved. And that in turn will lead to them harming you, not because they want to or because they're malicious, but because of the karmic cycle of how things work. So this is your opportunity to put your ego aside, really look at what it is that the season has been trying to show you, and without a sense of ego, evaluate yourself. Why? What is the impetus? Why do you do too much? Why do you take too much responsibility? Yes, the easy answer is, well, it's just my personality. The more difficult and nuanced answer would be something along the lines of, I do it because I'm afraid nobody else will. But if you don't give them a shot, how will you ever know? The idea of not letting people disappoint you is really depressive because you also rob them of the ability to surprise you, to make you happy. Don't get mad, I love you. Let's look at these cards. Hi Capricorn, welcome to the second part of your reading. Okay, first up, 3 of Wands. To resolve what's going on with you internally and walk into August where you have to make some major decisions and promise yourself that you will
make some major changes in how you work through relationships, how much you give, how much of yourself needs to evolve. That process starts now. And it's a process that really needs you, demands from you a bit of risk. That risk will be made easier by the sun moving into Leo. It will give you the appropriate amount of vigor and strength that you need to work on this. But change and evolution is difficult for Capricorn, always, whether it be in the context of love or work or just, your personal, your way of seeing yourself, your self-image. The reason it can be so difficult is that, and I'm really not trying to be glib here, the reason it's difficult is because often you feel like you are at the top of the mountain. And so there's nothing to evolve to next. But as Aquarian energy often shows you, even when it rubs you the wrong way, you have quite a lot to learn still. But the leap that you have to make to evolve past Capricorn energy is a big one. For the rest of July, you are going back and forth as to whether the material you and the spiritual you can mesh. You may often find that in a relationship, the person you're dealing with only knows one side of you. They think they know all of you because the side they see is sincere, but it's not all there is. In August, you'll have to answer for that, and you'll have to find a way to mesh these two personalities, which means the work of getting them both even so they can mesh properly starts now. It started already, but most of it was spent in confusion because of the retrograde. From the July 5th eclipse until the end of Mercury retrograde has been a period which my feeling is was designed to push you to the point where you understood, realized, admitted to yourself that something needed to evolve within you. For the rest of July, the parts that you are asked to look at that need to evolve have to do with your self-destructive tendencies. And we know the most obvious of those is getting lost in your work. But also Capricorn has an extremely sexual side, and often you don't make mistakes, but make terrible mistakes when it comes to sexuality. And they're also often kind of done for trivial reasons. It's not like Capricorn falls deeply in love and then has a fling with the person that they're in love with and that ends up ruining their life. It's more like everything is going great and then Capricorn risks everything on a fling, affair, tryst, whatever you want to call it, that has no meaning at all, which confuses everyone around Capricorn a lot because you seem to be so invested in everything you do. But then when you make mistakes, they're generally rooted in carelessness. And those two sides are very hard to reconcile for people who know you. And for you yourself. You yourself find that you wonder from time to time, this doesn't really mesh with the responsibility in my personality. Why did I do this? Well, over the next 10, 12 days, you will figure out exactly why you do it. And what you find out may not be very pleasant. Spoiler alert, I can tell you now what it is. It's your ego. It's the part of you that's always vying for dominance, but your will to evolve and your desire to be truly in love prompts you this time around to see it for the negative that it can be. And no matter how much Mars in Aries pushes you, this is a warning here that you will very much want to say the wrong thing, knowing that it's wrong. You will very much want to be aggressive, knowing that you shouldn't. You very much want to speak up about certain things, especially if they have to do with feeling unhappy in the home or in a romantic relationship. But you must ask yourself before you talk if what you're saying is rooted in love and wanting the best for someone or for yourself, or if it's yet again a way for you to sabotage. Because you go from taking all responsibility in that friendship, in that familial relationship, in that love relationship, in that work relationship. You are the person doing the group project on your own, and then later getting upset about it. But in the interim, you didn't ask for help, nor did you allow it. So the people around you, although they do carry the burden of some blame, I would suggest that you not go on that rant, that you not point fingers at others, that you not use this energy to accuse anyone of anything. Instead, I think it would be very beneficial for you to really, with open eyes, with a clear heart, look in the cleanest mirror you can find and see that truly the only thing that's holding you back, not only in terms of material success, but also from finding love, is those habits, attitudes, and actions that you have that you know are wrong and that you indulge anyway. Just the way you indulge the person you're in a relationship with when they do things that you know are wrong, but you're in giving mode and you then only know how to give. This indulgence of vice in others and within yourself, it really becomes apparent to you over the next 2 weeks that is what is really messing with your life and holding you back from so much. And then once you have the realization, of course, you will be tested. And the way to pass that test is to say nothing. Just say nothing. Stick to it. Just say nothing. And it'll work out. Just saying, not saying anything is also a risk. You know, you're starting off needing to be brave, and you're ending with needing to be even more brave. And of course, I know you can do it, but I think it'll make it easier for you if you have a valid reason for why you should do it. And in this case, the valid reason being that you must catch up with your capabilities. You're capable of so much more than these self-destructive tendencies allow. And once you break that cycle and are able to live up to the potential that you've been born with, you will be much happier and much less interested in harming yourself or your position in your society. But it's a deeply introspective time. You know, these things that we're talking about, they take a lot out of you to think about, let alone to enact change. So go easy on yourself. Just remember not to mouth off to anybody, because the consequences down the line will be extreme. So just don't let this Mars energy seduce you. That part, don't be risky. When it comes to you and having to change things, take all the risks. All right, Capricorn? Good. If you would like a personal reading recorded and sent to you. There's a Cameo link below. At that same Cameo link, you can also find 10-minute Zoom call meetings starting on the 22nd if you would like to book one of those. There is also a Chatalize link below, which are live one-on-one readings happening on Tuesdays. I think we're booked up until September, but I'll take another look and add another day. We're going to get into the extended right now and go through the cards and see what the rest of July and the first 2 weeks of August have to offer. If you have been admiring my rings, they are part of a new company that I've started with my best friend called Quietest Revolution Rings. And these are some of our offerings. This is the High Priestess. It is made of African amethyst and is available now in our store. And this is next season's collection. This is the World card ring. And this will be available, inshallah, in September. So that link will be below as well. I'm also going to include a merchandise link and the link to the Revolution Instagram, where part 1 of these readings is generally up about a week before. Okay, fam? I love you lots. Let's get into the extended right now.